Hey, what's up? Welcome to the channel again. Trail Boss here, and today we're going to do a giant knife review. All the best knives in the world, literally. You'll be shocked at the selection. And the object of this is to show everybody the availability of what's out there in knives. I'm a knife fanatic, as you can tell. I go to the gun shows and there's usually knives there for sale. And over the decades, I've accumulated a whole bunch. And how I will judge them and review them will be under the context of how I use them. So if I pick your special knife and disrespect it and say it's a piece of crap, don't email me, don't get offended. It's my opinion. You probably will think my personal knives are crap, but I'm judging them under the context of how I use them as an outdoorsman. With that, let's have some fun. Okay, let's try to make some order out of this process. We're going to look at a lot of knives. How I am going to judge these knives. They're available all over the world. There's nothing here over $300. Most of them are $35 to $85. And I am every man. I hunt. I'm a trapper. I'm an outdoorsman. What is a knife? A knife is a sharpened object with the intention of cutting something. That is by design. That's all a knife simply is. There are $5,000 Randalls that no one ever uses to cut stuff with. They're status symbols. I use the knives. I'm proud of them. Like a carpenter loves his hammer, and a plumber loves his wrenches, and a mechanic loves his snap-on tools. I love my knives and my guns. But how I'm judging them, just so you know I'm not disrespecting your particular knife that you love, is from a utilitarian standpoint. So I hunt. I kill wild game for meat, for food. With a knife, I gut the animal out to prepare the meat for preparation so I can eat it. I drag the animal out of the woods if it's big game, get it home and hang it up on a gambrel. The knife also helps me to skin it. You got to get it out of God's packaging. Then I cut the muscle groups all up. Steaks, chops, and roasts. All big game is the same. Pretty much all game is the same. That's how you do it. You butcher it. That's all through the knife. You could do it without the knife, but it's ugly and messy and cavemanish. The knife is a great tool. So that's one way I'm judging the knives. How I'm butchering the animals. I'm a trapper. I trap animals for their fur. I sell the furs. I eat most of the meat. I feed a lot of the meat to hunting dogs. The skins are prepared by skinning the animal, and you dry the skins. You scrape the fat off with the knives, and then you sell the skins. And that's another use for the style of knives and how I judge them. The third is the outdoorsman mode. I'm an outdoorsman. I spend most of my time outdoors, fishing, hunting, all that stuff. Those kind of knives are judged by clearing paths for archery, clearing brush, building stuff. There's many, many uses. This is how I'm judging these knives from my standards. It's an opinion video, all right? You might use your knife differently than mine. Your knife is the most personal thing you might have, and I might say it's a piece of crap. Don't get offended, because you're going to look at my knives, my favorite knives, and go, that's a piece of crap. So it's an opinion video, that's all. They're reviews. And let's have some fun, man. There's a lot to go through here. Major brands from all over the world, affordable for everybody. All right, so let's go. This is going to be fun. The first brand is Buck. Just like Eddie Van Halen said, everybody wants some. Everyone wants a Buck. Every man, boy, girl, outdoorsman wants a Buck knife. They're available all over the world for 100 years. Reliable knives, really reasonably priced, good quality knives. Let's go. This is the Buck Omni. It's a skinning knife. It's probably $45, $50 at Walmart. It's about a 1/4 inch 440 steel. Big fat belly on it. This will skin anything. Might be kind of too fat a belly for a lot of people, but the maneuverability of this is you're slicing the skin away from the meat, and that's why the fat belly is a really good thing. Good economical knife, and they're available everywhere. This is the Buck 119. This is really a camp knife. You cut your bread and your bacon and eggs and your meat up with it, and a lot of guys use this for survival. This is a bikie knife. A lot of bikies and truckers use this because of the design. It's almost like a K-bar. As a fighter knife, it's got a clip point. Very reasonable, $45, $50. That's a lifetime knife. It's a solid fixed blade, phenolic handle, and they're everywhere. Good solid knife for defense, and it's a good camp knife. In the Buck line, if God is a hunter and a trapper, this is what he uses. This is one of the best skinning knives out there, design-wise. It's the Buck 103. It's got like 1/4 inch steel. I think it's 440. And the belly on that is just perfect for skinning. It's God's skinning knife. It is the perfect blade, in my opinion. There's no better blade than the 103. I'm surprised more of these don't sell. I think people just don't know about them, you know. But from a skinner, a trapping standpoint, and someone who's skinned out hundreds of deer, it's the perfect design as far as I'm concerned. Now we get a little higher end. This is the Alaskan series. That's the S30V. Like 1/4 inch steel. This is a boutique metal. It's not made out of bar stock and ground down from a regular knife. It's a powder. And what's very cool about it, S30V, is the hardness of it. With that 103, I think it's 440, I can skin, the hardest animals to skin is a beaver. The fat is so tight and so dense against the skin. If you skin out a beaver once with that 103, you got to resharpen because it'll dull it. It's fat. You can't cut it. It's gristly, thick, close to the... It's a lot of hard work. And that one beaver off that 103, that's what this comes in. S30V, it's a boutique metal, and it's the hardness. It holds an edge. I can skin 10 beavers with this without resharpening it. And it's incredibly sharp and holds an edge. Now here's the drawback. Well, it's so hard. I use a Lansky diamond sharpener for everything. I don't use no belts. It takes off too much meat on the knife blade. You wear it down too quick. That Lansky, I'm going to do a whole video on that Lansky diamond sharpener. The best sharpener in the world, I think. Anyway, it won't sharpen this. It's diamonds and it won't sharpen this. It's so hard. So if anyone out there knows how to sharpen these S30Vs, not goon style, you know, in a professional manner, aside from belts, because belts takes off too much meat, that's an expensive knife. That's like friggin' $125. But because the edge lasts so long, it's worth every penny. You know, it's going to last, you know, it's a fine tool. So anyway, it's the Alaskan series, drop point, and made for skinning and a camp knife. It's a beautiful knife and worth every cent. Now then, the last I have to show in the Buck brand is what everyone wants. Like I said, Eddie Van Halen, everybody wants some. This is my first real knife when I was a kid. I'm sure it's most men's and girls' real knife. It's the Buck 110 folder. I got this up in New Hampshire with 8 other guys on a deer hunting camping trip. My very first knife. I think I paid 45 bucks for it, which back then, for a kid 16, 15 years old, was a lot of money. I was so proud of it. It's built great. Clip point. It's a camp knife, a folder. I don't rely too much on folders because they get wiggly in there, except cold steel. But this is stood up like, this is probably skinned out 25 deer. This is the grooved hunter. You pay a little premium for these grooves because it's a handle there. And clip point braid, great camp knife, great skinner, whatever you want to do. Every Boy Scout, every Girl Scout, every outdoors person, this is the knife. It's a legend. They probably sold billions of them. It's a lockback too. I hate liner locks. They're so weak. Lockbacks are great. Comes with a great sheath. You look really cool wearing them too. The sheath is really cool. Cool thing. Now, these are knockoffs. Get them at gun shows, and you can find some steals. It's a nice little camp knife, hunting knife. That's good 1/4 inch steel. I don't know how good the steel is. I think it's probably 440. It's one solid piece, right on through. And that handle is micarta, I believe. Nice good rivets on there. $15. I believe it's probably made in China. 15 bucks. That is a steal. That's probably a $75 knife, quality-wise. Good solid steel. Holds an edge. Feels good in the hand. Kind of a drop point, I think it is. But there's bargains at the gun shows, man. 15 bucks, you can't beat it. You got to look for one of these good ones. There's 1,000 ugly ones, pieces of crap, with that good Chinese steel with bones and feathers mixed in with it. There's another $15 knife. Nice Burden Trove knife. One piece all the way through. Standard knife. You can skin out a grizzly or an elk with that. That's all you really need size-wise. With that cutting edge, with that full belly. I prefer a little larger or whatever the job may be. But 15 bucks, that's a quality knife. A lot of nice rivets in that handle. A little small. Fits nice in the hand for trout and bird. 15 bucks. There are steals out there. There really are. That's what's so addictive. It's like you don't know what you're going to find, you know. Now that these are full customs, you can find them. It's someone that doesn't know what they have. Damascus steel, solid blue. I'm pretty sure that goes right in the handle. Nice belly on it, old school design. And I think I paid $40 for it, but it's a custom knife. That's handmade. And that's kind of a marbles design from the 20s. Nice skinning, nice fat belly on it. I don't care about Damascus. It looks pretty, but you know, I wanted to cut something. There's another custom. Nice little sheath on it. And that's a real custom. That's handmade, you can tell. Bone handle. And kind of cheesy on the tang there. It goes down, but it's a good 1/4 inch steel. I think that's a $60 knife. I think I found both of these in what they call the bucket O knives. And that's a good knife. You can tell it's a custom made knife. There are bargains to be had. And fun stuff. Now, here's where you're going to get a laugh. I'm going to disrespect your knife. This is my favorite knife of all. Well, shall I say I've used it the most. I made the sheath. It's from a 1890 design from Kephart, I believe it is. The more I wear it, the better it looks. But I'm here to show the knife. That's my favorite knife. It probably cost $15 or $20. It's an Ontario Knife Company pilot knife knockoff. I probably skinned at least 100 deer with this and other large game. This particular knife, one knife, they're hold an edge really well. I care if I lose it because it's got sentimental value, but who cares if you lose it? It's 15 bucks. I got probably 5 other ones to replace it, but I hope that I never replace it. It's got too many memories on it. Clip point, not a skinner, but it's just right for gutting out and cleaning off a deer. And that's what I use. So laugh your heads off. All these knives, hundreds of dollars and $15 knife. It works. It's a sharpened piece of metal designed to cut something. It's not pretty, it's functional. It does what it's supposed to do. That's what I'm interested in. That's what I'm judging this stuff in. These are the real deal. I'll buy these all day long. That's an Air Force combat pilot knife. They're basically designed for cutting their way out of a crash cockpit of a plane. It's got kind of a saw edge in the back, which isn't really useful. Stacked leather. They're dated on the pommel when they're made. But that is a classic design and a beautiful knife. Used for anything. Skinning, camp knife, clip point. It's sharpened on the other edge of the clip, so it's a good weapon. But these are very desirable now. They're kind of hard to find. Everyone wants them. They used to be relatively cheap. They used to be 30 bucks. But everyone found out how good they are and how useful they are. And now they're up in the 70s and 80s. I'll buy them all day long if I can find them. It's a very interesting project for you guys if you want to have a little fun. Go to Ocean State Job Lot. And those rawhide chews, let them sit in water for about a week. I mean, not a week. Warm water for about a day or two. This is a rawhide chew, and it's a knife sheath I made. You can mold it. It just turns into wet leather after half an hour of being in the water. And then you cut your sheath shape. And then I trimmed it out with the rawhide, and you let it dry. Leave your knife in it so that it takes the form on, because it's pretty malleable when it's wet. But it's really fun, surprising, cheap. I mean, you can get a square of this for $3 at Ocean State. Dog chews, that's all they are, those wrapped up dog bones. Soak them in water, they loosen up. Design your sheath. Stick the knife in, let it dry, and you got a little knife sheath. They're pretty good. Solid, you know. That's how the Native Americans do it. It's sinew, is what it is. It's sinew. Cool project, though. So as a reward for watching this video, at the end of this video, I'm going to give 3 different points that I have picked up over the decades that you will not believe. It'll make your outdoorsman skills, it'll change your life forever. I defy anyone to tell me that these tips are not the best tips they've ever heard about hunting and fishing in the outdoors. That's at the end of the video. Not that this is laborious watching this. I hope you guys dig knives. Now we're getting into higher end knives. These are special operations, military knives. Guys in Iraq and Iran, Rangers, they invest hundreds of dollars on one knife to defend their life. So these knives are badass, and they're not all fighters, but the idea in mind is to stay alive with them. Tops for the money. These are semi-custom knives. Every knife has a registration card, and probably the highest quality knife you can buy for the money. This is my favorite top knife. It is the it's the Striker Defensive. Sorry, bros, but that's my reading glasses. It looks like a diving knife, a very aggressive edge here for sawing that actually works. The tip, both tips are sharpened. That's 1/4-inch steel there. Full right on through. Look at that. These are overbuilt. The last knife you'll buy in your life. They're generally high-end, $225 for this probably, if you can find these. That's a very aggressive, sharp cutting edge. This is my favorite tops knife. Just the right weight. Built like anything. You can change the scales if you ever wanted to. I don't know why you'd want to, but the most multi-useful tool I think Tops makes for my taste. Now, this is the Eagle series. There's a whole series of these. Personally, my favorite one, it's like that long. It's in my bug out bag, but I didn't dig it out. This one's great for survival, and it's the 107C. 1/4-inch steel, once again, overbuilt. You're never going to buy another knife after you buy this. Those offset teeth on that saw really work. I don't know why they got a blood groove on that, but it's usually only on fighting knives. But for batoning, splitting wood, camp chores, and survival, it's a weapon used in combat. It's a Steel Eagle. There's a whole series of these, all the blade lengths ranging from, I don't know, 4-inch up to the big one. Ron Hood uses the Anaconda. I have that, but it's too wieldy for me. He likes a big knife. So, number 3 on the tops. By the way, that Steel Eagle is probably $250. This is the Cochise. It's a full-on just camp knife, all-around use knife. Once again, 1/4-inch, overbuilt. And all Tops knives come with a registration card. I believe they're guaranteed for life. And they come with this whistle. I don't know why they give you this whistle. It's kind of like a crackerjack thing. If I was in the woods in a survival mode and someone with me blew that, I'd kick their ass. Why would you do that? Why would they even send this? But I think it's like that. It's like a crackerjack whistle that they don't make anymore. And you look forward to getting it. Where's the whistle when you get the Tops? It's just something they throw in there. I believe they think it's a survival thing, but they come with every Tops knife. So that's the Cochise and belly, drop point, general all-around usage of knife. Probably get these for $1.75, I believe they are. Reasonably priced, once-in-a-lifetime knife. This is a full fighting knife. There's no other purpose for that. You can cut your bacon and eggs, but it's called the Apache Hunter by the designer is Snake Charmer. And this would be a spec op guy, a ranger or something. There's only one use for that, stabbing and slabbing. Generally what it's designed for. You can obviously use it for anything you want. It's a combat knife. It's a thing of beauty, I believe, work of art. It's probably $200 if you can find them. Most of these knives are sold out because they're so popular and they're limited runs. But that is the Apache Falcon. A beautiful name for it too, the Falcon. Swooping down from the skies. Very cool. And last but not least on the Tops brand, this is the Marines' favorite tool, they claim. It's called the Max Punisher. 1/4-inch, overbuilt, once again, full, right on through, solid one-piece knife. It's more like a machete slash cleaver. It's very hefty, and it's got a great saw on right here where I'm pointing. And the Marines love this, I guess. That's what the description claims. It's a fighting tool slash utility tool, small machete, you know. It's got the hammer end for smashing windows in case you have to do kind of breaching or whatever. But these are kind of pricey, $250. But intimidating. And if you like chopping up meat in the field, that's what I'll use it for. It's the Max Punisher by Tops. So that ends the Tops brand. And those are generally fighting combat knives. I hope you're liking this as much as I like this. I like this. Me and my buddies at the gun clubs will show and talk about these for hours. And it's just a passion, discussing our tools of the trade. Pretty cool stuff. The next brand, probably one of the most best brands for the money, well designed for the money in the world. None other than Cold Steel. For the money. Most of the guys that design these are martial artists and really outdoors technicians. They know what the heck they're doing most of the time. So this is the Trench Hawk. Having said all that and given them the accolades, what the hell is this thing, right? They claim it's Vietnam era hand weapon. As an axe, the head is too small. You could chop stuff and you could freaking breach and pierce stuff with that. But are you really going to do it in reality? You know, I mean, I'm not going to Nam tonight, you know, digging out the tunnel rats. That's what they claim this is used for. The handle is really long and sturdy. It's good steel. And a lot of 20 and 30 years old that like apocalypse crap will strap that on the back of their backpacks for killing zombies, which don't exist. As a functionality tool, hunting, trapping, outdoors, it's really not that useful, except for maybe chopping something small. You know, it looks really cool. It is really cool. I doubt it's a balanced hawk that you could throw for target practice, but functionality, it's kind of stupid. By the way, the sheath for this cost almost as much as the hawk, and hard to find too. Anywho, now this is the real stuff from the quality stuff from the Cold Steel. This is the Master Hunter. They're hard to find. It's 1/4-inch steel, Kratel handle, drop point, perfect size for skinning and camp use. And it's kind of a Kephart / Loveless style. Very simple and elegant. And they generally used to sell for 30 bucks or so. Now they're up in the 70s or 80s because people are appreciating what they really are. And it's carbon 5 steel, which is really high quality holding edge steel. Nothing fancy about it. It's a great camp knife for the money. I think around $50 will get you one of these if you can find them. They're harder and harder to find because people are picking them up. All right. Folders, only a few folders that I would recommend. Cold Steel, the American Lawman. Why? Because folders are weak. Here, after you use them, they start to wiggle. This has a lock back, and they have invented what they call the triad lock system, which is, it's like a ball and joint. When you open this up, that ball and joint snaps into place. The more you open it up, the more it wears in and gets tighter and tighter instead of looser and looser. That's what they claim. I believe them. That is rock solid. There's all kinds of videos that they do, crazy cool stuff with their knives. You can check their Cold Steel website and they'll show you how strong these knives are. Cops carry these for a reason. Drop point, functional blade, not fancy, functional. Get you out of a jam as a backup weapon, and you can come up on the churl there a little higher for cutting or whatever you need to do. But it's the American Lawman, a great, great knife. They're about 85 bucks. Cold Steel, solid as a rock. They come with a clip on the side too. Excellent, excellent. One of the top folders in the world, I think. More of a combat style folder. They probably sell millions of these. It's the Recon 1. It's a little larger. Same thing, triad lock system, solid as a rock. Clip point, it's about 1/4 inch. I think it's that carbon 5 steel. Creighton handles, you can change the scales, whatever you want to do. But the clip point is a more aggressive style, and it's a military knife, the Recon 1, all right? So, excuse me. It goes in, it's got to come out. And so anyway, same as the Lawman, they have their cult following. And for the money, I think they're about $85, $90. Solid as a rock, man. Cold Steel rules. They really, really do. This is probably one of their more pricier knives. It's called the Trailmaster. I know I'm called the Trail Boss. It's not why I bought this knife. It's kind of a Bowie knife. It's made with sanmai steel that's like 1/2 inch. They use some magic Japanese technique that takes 3 years to cook the steel, and they pray over it, and it's supposed to be one of the best steels in the world. An elegant work of art. Clip point, I'd say that's a 9-inch blade. It's probably 14 inches overall, and that is a camp workhorse. Almost a shame to put a scratch on it though. But it's a Bowie style knife. Razor sharp, and it's a lifetime knife. Both sides of the clip point are sharpened, I would imagine for combat use, Bowie style, but it's really a camp knife. And quality knife. You're talking $350 for this because of the steel. The steel is gorgeous in it. And last but not least, from my favorite cold steel is the leather neck. It's a takeoff on the K-bar, and a high quality one too. It looks exactly like the K-bar. Cold steel's interpretation of the K-bar. Rubber handle, clip point. Once again, this is a fighting knife. United States Marine Corps fighter. That's the design of it. You can use it as a camp knife. A lot of stadies and cops and anyone who's been in the military, spec ops and all that. I don't know if they use cold steel, but they're married to their K-bar. They'd rather lose their dog than their K-bar because it's a military issue and it brings back memories of how it helped them save their life. Great camp knife, solid as a rock, cold steel. For the money, this is probably the best knife Cold Steel makes. They have a Tonto. I don't see the point of even having a Tonto blade on a knife like this. That's the one I think is the best. And I think they run for about $55. This is a lifetime knife. Rock solid and worth every penny. All right, well, halfway through. Hope you're having fun. I am. And we'll keep rolling. Now then, a whole new category. Machetes. I used to think they were gay, too wieldy, stupid looking, but I used one. I was just sold immediately. They are so useful. I'd rather have a machete than any axe in the woods. Axes seem so archaic to me now. Don't email me. I know they have their place. It's not for me. Hunter, trapper, building traps, the axe is good, but the machete is very useful. Most of the good machetes come from South America. There are exceptions. And this happens to be one of them. This is from Sheffield. I believe it's military issue to the English Army. And it's probably one of the best machetes made. 15-inch blade, almost bolo style. You can dig with this. They dig in villages in South America. One village might own one of these. They will kill you for it. They build the whole village just with that. They butcher meat. They protect their women. They build everything with the machete. They all share it. They clear the brush in the jungles, deep jungles where no other white man penetrates. With that tool right there. Probably the best machete I have. Weighs a good substantial amount. Like I say, you can dig with it, butcher animals, cut with it, clear brush with it, build stuff with it. Very useful multi-tool. Kind of hard to find, great riveting. Holding that full tang. And I think I paid, I don't know, $50 for this. A steel. I'll buy these all day long. Sheffield, England. Try to move along a little through the machetes. This is another Sheffield, right? Made in England. It's a standard style machete, a lot lighter. And it's a standard style. It's not bolo style, so there's no weight to really pull through. But it's military issue, I believe. And Sheffield, good steel. They're not kidding when they say Sheffield steel is good. When you hold these in your hand, you will feel the quality, and they hold an edge. So my favorite machete, marbles, cheap, probably $20. Smoky Mountain Knife Works. This particular one is the Camp Axe, and it's a 15-inch blade. I think it's perfect. Way to use a machete is never go near your body, but you can strip branches, build stuff with this way faster than most other tools. This is just lightweight, holds an edge really good. It comes with a hone, you know, a stone. I've used this for years, clearing brush out in my back acreage out back there every spring, and cutting firewood for build good fires. That's all I need is my marbles. It's also good for trimming the hedges, caveman style. Works very well. 20 bucks, you can't beat it. They have many styles marbles, very reasonable. They make good cutlery. They probably have 10 styles of machetes. I think this is the best style. So the truly best machetes come from Brazil and South America. This is a Tremonte Bolo style. Bolo style has the weight down there, swings. You get momentum going. Very easy to handle. You got to go on YouTube and watch these skilled South Americans use these. They are as good as any axeman you'll see on the wood chopper competitions. They're phenomenal with these. There's also a comedian down there, and I don't want to steal his shtick, but he's really funny about machetes. He says, "You got problems with your in-laws? Machete. Your daughter's boyfriend giving you a hard time? Machete. Someone owes you a lot of money? Machete." He's telling us it's the most useful tool other than building villages. I don't want to steal any of his shtick or anything, but if you find him on YouTube, you're going to laugh your butt off. Machetes are cool. Digging tool, butchering tool, build whole villages with it. Very impressive tool, very multi-purpose. And this is your standard military issue, United States, probably World War II, US marked on it. Almost the Bolo style, standard 8, 16, 18-inch blade, and a little too light for my use. Very comfortable, but it's kind of long and it's got a nice patina. But U.S. military issue, probably Vietnam, Korea, or rather Vietnam, Korea/Vietnam military issue. So that's it for the machetes. Best ones come from South America. Trust me, the best ones come from South America. This comes from India. It's a weirdo knife. It's a kukri. They just look weird because Indian people have weird customs. They say you can behead a man with one swipe of this. I get it. It's Bolo style. The balance is fully there for beheading, but I doubt I'm going to do that. As a camp tool, great for clearing. It's an impressive tool. They look stupid, but they're very popular now. They're catching on like wildfire because of the balance. It's kind of a bolo, almost bolo shape, where the momentum swings, and you got this area for fuzz sticking and cutting and batoning up here, and the shape, that weight is just right. I could see it's meant as a military fighting tool, but it's a great camp tool. Very underestimated. There's a lot of Chinese knockoffs. Get the ones from India. They're pretty good quality. That's full tang, comes all the way through, and good handles. It's just they're from freaking India, and people are weird. Sorry, I don't mean to offend anybody, but that's a weird knife, man. A very novel design. I call them like I see them. Sorry. Next up, the Marines Woodsman's Pal. It's an authentic Woodsman Pal. They used them in World War II, generally designed as a weapon. You can do some serious damage with that. Most were used for brush clearing. You gather brush in a hand and you cut it that way with that round pot. This is left unsharpened because they know people are going to be banging it around and stuff. I don't know why that churl is there. There's got to be a function for it, but it's an authentic. It's got a hand grip for fighting, stacked leather. They run about 65 bucks. They're still around. They get kind of rare. They come in and out. But get a good one, not a Chinese knockoff. The good ones have Woodsman's Pal, the authentic trademark on anything. Any World War II Marine will tell you just how they use it. It's a weapon. It's not like a machete. All right, so it's a very controversial knife. It has its cult following, usually the 20, 30-year-old Armageddonists. It's the Rat 7 by Ontario Knife Company. It's a whole series. Rat 7, 5, 3. They're different length blades. Rat 7 because it's a 7-inch blade. Great camp knife. It's got full tang. It's like 1/4-inch steel, probably 440 or something like that. You can change the scales, no problem. Cult following. But my opinion, here's where people might get pissed. Why would you buy that when you can have a Tops for maybe $50 or $75 more. That's way overbuilt. It's going to last way longer than this thing is. Tops knives, quality-wise, are the best knives that I have here. Rat has its absolute cult following from the survivalists and the zombie killers, and you know, those kind of people, the young kids. But real campcraft quality, you want the good hammer or you want the crappy hammer. This isn't a crappy hammer, it's a fair hammer, but the good hammer is the tops. Those tops knives are blow this thing away. Yeah, batoning, cutting your bacon, building stuff, they're all cool with the Rat. That's a knockoff sheath I have there. This is a underestimated knife. It's the Coleman Western. It's a Bowie knife, simple Bowie knife. They sell them at Bass Pro, I think, for about 40 bucks. It's a hell of a buy. This thing weighs like 2 pounds. 1/4 inch steel, straight all the way through, fixed blade, right? It's a Bowie though. This is meant as a fighting knife by Jim Bowie. It's meant to kill shit, but it's got the clip point. But most guys, especially down south around the Confederacy, use this as, because Daniel Boone and all that, use this as camp knives, choppers. You can do batoning with it. You can build stuff with it. And of course, it's an intimidating fighting knife. But for the money, like 40 bucks, Bass Pro Cabela's, that's a heck of a knife, man. It's a good, solid knife. They got way cheaper ones, knockoffs. That knife there, that's a good quality knife, Coleman Western. And they're still around. You still get them. Just kind of feel goony carrying it around. I don't know, it's big and wieldy. Now, K-bars. This thing is a weirdo. They call it I forget what they call it. The Becker tack tool. Firemen love this thing. This is a fireman's knife. Basically, it comes with a sheath. It's a pry bar. You want to pry into cars, cut seat belts. You can even use that as a gut hook, bizarrely enough. But they call it the key to the city because bad guys get them and they break into houses and barns. And that's the slang term for them. But firemen dig these. They're all right for what they are if you need a pry bar. It's got some good sawmet edge right there. I don't know why it has the Tonto. You're not going to fight anyone with this. But it's mainly as a pry bar, breaking into cars, breaking into buildings, prying stuff open. And I think they're around $85, $90. I don't think they're that popular, you know, because of what they are. I mean, what do you do with it? You know, let's go break into a dumpster or something, you know. All right. Most popular, K-bars. Authentic U.S. Marine World War II K-bars. And you're looking at probably $65. They used to be a lot cheaper. Here's your standard military issue U.S. Marine fighting knife. Giant blood groove, stacked washers as hand grip. Military guys and cops get very sentimental about these because they saved them when they were kids. Simple. And they got good memories. I had one guy working in a loam and gravel pit, a statey, come in the back of the pit and he skinned out a deer and he left his knife there and he was begging me to search for it, his K-bar. State policeman threw the deer in his trunk. This was 40 years ago. And begged me and I found it and he was the most grateful guy ever. And they gave me some meat for it for free. But you grow attached to your K-bars. It's a fighting knife and Marines love them and they're there for a purpose and they serve their purpose. So am I getting to you? You want a knife? You want these kind of knives? Bear in mind my mission. Hunting, butchering, trapping, skinning, outdoorsmanship. That's what these are all judged on. That's why I use them. There's no toys here. All right? Am I getting to you? You want some of these? These are some of the best knives in the world. Available, affordable. There's high-end knives, Randalls and turquoise handles and freaking exotic materials. This is all you need. You want to hammer a nail or you want to gold plate the nail, you know? So, moving on. We're almost to the end. There's a cult following of these. They're not knives, but Leatherman Tools. I think they're the stupidest idea in the history of mankind. I mean, they're contraptions. They get your attention. What's the corkscrew for? How often are you going to find a bottle of wine out in the woods that you need the corkscrew? Or the 15-piece screwdriver heads that get lost the first time you pull one out. They're just dumb. I mean, they're not for me. They are totally cops, firemen, all kind of professional tradesmen love these things. I just never got them. I just never got the idea between them. Okay, it's probably this is the second only axe that I'm going to exhibit. It's a Gerber, and it's like, what the hell is the point? Yeah, you can chop stuff with that. The best thing I could possibly think of that, it's actually exactly the right size, is for when you butcher a deer, right here in the middle, it's called a cinch bone. And if you bust that open, a lot of guys use a saw, but you can use this. This will tackle that in a second. The legs flop wide open, and you can butcher the meat a lot quicker. For the cinch bone, you probably couldn't find a better tool than that. Other than that, what's the point of this? The axe head's freaking 5 inches. It's well built. The handle's way too small. Something went in there, I don't know what, probably some kind of survival crap, but I didn't have it when I bought it used. But it seemed like a good quality axe, but with very limited use. It's too small. I mean, you know, great name, great shape, great design, modern design, solid, built like a rock, but what's the freaking point? You know, they're not cheap either. I think these are like 60 bucks or so. They're harder to find now. I can't really seem to find them now. Not that I want another one, but as a cinch bone buster, that's probably the ultimate. Now, getting to the end here, the old Victorinox. As these are the old 50 spoons and butter knives and scissors and all that. Not me. These are very practical. This is the Hunter XT. You're looking at $100. Probably worth every penny. Comes in a nice Cordura sheath. And what makes this cool, there's not a lot to it. They are liner locks, which I hate. They suck. I hate liner locks. They're weak and fumbly. But the reason why that's worth $100 is that saw right there. That saw cuts anything like butter. Bone, trees, and most useful. That blade's a pretty good style blade too. Straightforward. There's no tricks to it. And there's other accoutrements on here too. That's mainly why I bought this thing, is because that I believe this would be Swiss military issue. This is the standard Swiss military issue knife they issue their army. Well built, solid. There's no triad locks on this, but it's a Victorinox, and they probably have 1,000 designs of these. This is one of the best designs I've ever seen. The second Victorinox would be the it's a soldier knife. It's called the soldier knife. Same deal. Liner locks suck. But there's a good saw on here. Screwdriver. You know, the regular Victorinox fodder. You know, but it's the saw. That saw blade on there cuts through anything. It's hard to find without being a folding saw, which actually I should have had examples of. I have a few really good ones. I have a lot of fruit trees and pruning, but it's hard to find a good saw that really cuts well. These cut well. That's why I recommend these fully highly. Good stuff. So that's it for the knives. I hope you like all the opinionation, and hope I showed you some stuff. Some of the best brands in the world: Buck, Cold Steel, Tops knives, South American, Machetes, K-Bars, Gerber, and Victorinox. Some of the best brands in the world, man. Probably the best brands in the world. And as promised, shortly coming up, I'm going to give you the 3 tips that are invaluable, that's going to change your life. Watch. You watch and see. So before I get to the 3 points, the other 2 things I want to say, I'm going to do a whole complete video on the Lansky Diamond Sharpener. The best sharpener on the planet, period, in my opinion. Easiest to use, sharpest edge, the quickest, fun. The second thing I'm going to do a full-on video is, this is a silver compass. All compasses, high-end compasses, low-end compasses, invaluable in the field. Learn how to use them. Most of the time the GPS will be out during grid downs. So I'm going to show you some really nice compasses that are very affordable, nothing over 50 bucks, and a very useful tool along with map. Orienteering is extremely useful. Now to the 3 tips. I defy you to tell me these ain't worth the wait. When I was a kid, as all my friends, we wanted the coolest boots out there, which consisted of leather, all leather, as high as possible, so you look like a Comanche. As much laces as possible. The more laces, the cooler you looked. Aggressive soles, because we want to climb mountains, right? As a hunting boot, 100% wrong. If you're hunting dry uplands or desert areas, leather is the choice. You're absolutely not going to get it wet. These are great. They'll break in nice. I got Red Wings that have lasted me 40 years. But as a hunting boot, in southeastern Massachusetts, where I hunt the Hockomock Swamp, and you're more times in muck and water, the worst choice possible. In the first half hour when you're tracking a deer, you're going to step in mud, sucking mud. It's going to bring you up to there, right? And you're going to suck your foot out, and this soaks water like a sponge. This isn't going to dry out for 4 days. I've tried so many boots, waterproof, bull, right? Nothing you can do about it. Leather sucks in the water. You need to put these on a boot dryer for 4 days, and after that, they start cracking and drying out. You have to use neat's foot oil, which isn't a bad thing. It'll revitalize it, but the stupidest tool ever for your feet is right here. You pull your foot out of that mud, all sticks and mud get in here, it ain't coming out. Swish your foot back and forth in the water, you're just making it wetter. The stupidest idea ever. Yet every catalog I see, hunting catalog and fishing catalog, has hundreds of these. Guys want that look. They look cool. They're in the military or they're Indians or whatever. It's not functional. And the answer is, take it from the trappers, man. I'm going to be in the water hunting like 80% of the time. I'll go knee deep almost with this. It's fun. It's like a 7-year-old running through a water puddle. You're bone dry in there. 3 pairs of socks so you don't get blisters or wet. Completely dry. It's built for that. Non-aggressive sole. This still picks up mud, but you pull your foot out of that muck, your feet are bone dry in there. You swish them through the water, completely dry. No smell, holds no smell from your feet, although it really doesn't matter. That's coming up. Smells, but this is what you want hunting, fishing, trapping. Walk right through water and laugh. It's fun. It's like you don't even think about it anymore. That's the best thing you can buy is a pair of rubber boots. These are Bass Pro bone dries. You're talking 50 bucks. They got Muck Boots, 110 bucks. Between 50 and 100 bucks should be sufficient. You can buy knockoffs from Sportsman's Guide and everything like that from China. But these are worth every penny. The smartest thing you can do for your feet. It's like ice fishing. You $300 boots you need for ice fishing. Your feet are gonna get cold. It ain't gonna be fun. That's like these. Your feet's gonna get wet. It ain't gonna be fun. You're thinking this sucks, and I spent $400 for those boots. That's tip number 1. Am I right? Tip number 2. The scent stuff. It's a $1 billion industry. No scent. Wash your clothes in this powder. Takes away the human scent. And ozone sets up around you. The deer animals won't smell you. Is the biggest lie in the history of mankind, right? All animals' sense of smell are way better than ours. Deer, yotes, bobcats, lions, bear, they always move upwind to us to see what we are. When they're unsure, that's what they're doing. They're trying to get upwind of us, and they're trying to smell us. You know why we can never defeat that? You can defeat it, but you know why you can't defeat it in normal senses? Is that simple. Your breathing, your breath. If you can figure out how to hold your breath for 6 hours while you hunt, you've won. But you can have the cleanest clothes. You can have put them in fir needles or whatever. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about cover scents. Very valuable, like doe and eustace. Spray that on your boot. Leave a nice scent trail of a doe or a buck in rut. Put that on your boot. Leave a nice sail trail. Those are trailing scents. But cover products that clean you, claim to clean you, the name's Tucker, not Sucker. All right? It's all crap. You're breathing. And how it's a fact is prisons would escape criminals. They want to catch these men quickly. So they have bloodhounds, which can smell dead bodies under 80 feet of water, one of the finest noses in nature. And they run tests. Let these criminals run through the woods and hide, and we'll see if we can find them with the bloodhounds. So they do the standard thing. The criminals run through the woods. They cross over the stream to break up the trail, right? And they set up 100 boxes with one criminal, and the dog runs right to him. And the reason is the dog followed the scent trail, more or less, of his breath. You're breathing. You can never get rid of that, nor can any animal. That's what the other animals are doing. They're either trying to track the scent of the breath of the deer or whatever prey it is. The coyote's trying to track the turkey or the rabbit or the woodchuck by getting upwind. And that's why you can never, ever defeat that, except there's one way. And the Indians knew it, and they discovered it, and they just do what the animals do. I can puke on myself, crap myself, don't bathe for 3 weeks, and I can still kill that deer 50 yards ahead of me. Hunt upwind, period. Keep that wind blowing in your face from that deer. It's tricky. Those air currents are invisible. You have to know the area intimately. The deer and all the other critters already do because they live there. You don't live there, but you have to get that skill, right? Hunt upwind, they'll never scent you. They'll never find you, and you can get within yards. I can honestly say I killed, this is the God's truth, 2 deer by my sense of smell. The smell was, the doe was in estrus. I know what that smell smells like. The smell of the deer was throwing towards me with the wind. And before I saw that deer over a rise, I smelled the deer, and I said to myself, that's a deer. And I peeked over the rise, and sure enough, there was a doe, and I dropped it with my recurve. And the second time, same thing, only with a shotgun with a slug, and it was a doe, not a buck. But the doe really stink in estrus. When they want to mate, that smell, when you get familiar with that smell and you follow the wind, you can smell it from 50 yards away. And as you get it to be a better hunter, it becomes subliminal. You don't even think about it. It just happens. You have to learn to hunt and bring that back. But that is a valuable tip. All that no scent stuff, guys ain't going to agree with me. They're going to swear by it. But how do you hide your breath? That's how you're going to be found. All right? That's it. That's tip number 2. And now, my friends, the pièce de résistance. The best tip I have to offer you in this video. I love this. It's so just elegant. When the standard way to butcher an animal, large deer, I'm going to use the Longhorn Steer because I don't have a deer toy to demonstrate. But this is how you butcher an animal. After you kill the animal with a heart-lung shot cleanly and humanely, this is the standard procedure for butchering a deer. The sternum, or the chest of the animal, you make an incision. You cut the skin from here to the anus. One straight cut from here to the anus. You cut around the anus and tie it off with a string so no poop squirts out. You roll the animal on its side and roll the gut sack out. It's a massive sack of guts, and you get used to it. Well, this is how you get the meat out of God's packaging. What you're doing is getting that guts out so that the meat will cool quickly, so that you can butcher the animal and have fine meat rather than have heat set in there and bacteria build up. Now you leave the skin on at that point and drag it out of the woods. The skin's going to protect all that meat. Get it up in your truck or your car. Get it home. I use a gambrel. You can use a rope, tie it up to the apple tree, and I hang it from the feet down. Then the next step would be skinning it. So you're going to cut around each leg here and pull the skin off. If you want to save the skin and use it, buckskin and all that, you do a nice job of it. It'll come off in one piece. It's not hard at all. It's really, it's kind of fun. Now you have a naked animal, all the muscle groups are showing. You simply cut all the muscle groups away from the bone, methodically. It's very simple. The two loins, the best two tenderloins along the backbone, that's the best cuts of, second best cuts of meat. The hams, which are right here, one on that side. The butts, it's right here. That's where your steaks and your hams come from. The shoulder meat here and here. And then from the inside, the absolute best cuts of meat, they're called the tenderloins. Going in from this way, there are two strips of meat about that long, and they're located on the interior vertebrae, on the inside of the animal, and that's it. And then you cut your ribs off. You can have rib meat, and then you cut all the excess meat off. That is the standard way to butcher a deer. It's not what I want to tell you. What I want to tell you is there's a much easier way. Generally, poachers use this, and I am not afraid of roadkill. If I see an animal get killed, I think you are stupid. A deer get killed, I think you are stupid not to get that meat. If you see a $100 bill blowing down the road, are you going to say, oh, that's not my 100, I didn't earn it, I'm not going to touch that thing? You're going to jump on that thing. That's how I look at roadkill. But I have to see that animal die. I have to see it get hit by a car or truck. As long as there ain't giant damage on it, that meat's mine. That's $300 worth of the primest meat God put out here. No steroids, bacteria, or nothing. Free right there. In my car, I always have a 5-gallon bucket, a giant plastic bag. If you see an animal get killed, you go to 7-Eleven, get a couple bags of ice, throw it in a bucket. Butcher the animal how I'm going to tell you, and put the meat in the bag. That meat will last a day in your car. Bring it home, wash off the hair, cut it all up nice and package it, and you'll have some beautiful meat for the winter. But here's what I'm trying to tell you. This is how you butcher that animal, right? It's fast. It shouldn't take you more than 20 minutes. The old school way I've timed myself from running in the field, a deer alive, to completely butcher it out and no fat on anything, 4 hours and 15 minutes. That's pretty good. 4 hours and 15 minutes from being alive to in my freezer, completely categorized. This takes 25 minutes. Get this. So the first cut, forget about the gut sack. The animal's dead, right? However it died. I'm not talking about a roadkill, 5 days old, bloated with blowflies and nasty. I just saw it get killed. Drag it over to the side of the road, or any animal that you just want to butcher quickly. You make your first cut from the neck to the base of the tail. Exactly the opposite how you would normally do it. From the neck to the base of the tail, one cut. You're cutting the skin. Don't go further than the skin. You're going to make 4 more cuts. One on each shoulder there, one on each shoulder there. One on the butt, as far near the butthole as you can get, and one on the butt. Now, flap that skin over. That exposes the whole loin. Simple, easy, clean, not messy. That loin you can remove with your fingers. It's a hunk of meat this long, and there's 2 of them. The second best cut of meat on the animal. You're not dealing with no gut bag. This is speed, right? That's why the poachers liked it, I supposed. So now you've removed those 2 loins, one on each side. On the butt, you have the cut going down here because that skin's flapped over. Just continue the cut down a little further down the leg to the shank. Pull that skin back. All that ham. Just pull that ham right off. Pull it right off. Flip that animal over. Same thing. Pull that over. you're just draping the skin. That's all you're doing, splitting the skin from the top. You're not getting at it from the bottom. Cut those hams off. There's a massive amount of meat right there. Now go up to the shoulders, same deal. Flap that skin down. Get the neck meat. There's a ton of meat here. A lot of guys absolutely ignore. And get these shoulders, all right? That's the third group that's most worthy, right? And then after that, you left the gut sac intact. Forget about the heart and the lungs. You're going to have to leave them in there. And the tenderloins, the best cuts, forget about it. You're after speed here. But if that is not the most novel way to butcher, the fastest way that you've never heard of, I defy you to say there's a better way to butcher an animal other than regular skinning without a gambrel. This is on the ground. This is just, you're done in 25 minutes. Cops have watched me, the town workers, and they're amazed at how fast it can be done. And so basically, make the cut along the backbone, flop the skin down each side, pull the loins off. Pull the skin down off the hams, pull the hams off. Pull the skin down off the shoulders, pull the shoulders off. And you got meat, buddy. And that's it, man. That's what I got to say. I hope you like it. I hope you find that as amazing as when I first found it. And that's my video on the knife reviews, some of the best knives in the world. And I hope you picked up some hunting and fishing tips along the way, that'll help you out in the field. I love this stuff, man. This is my peace. This is how I get from 12 hours a work day. This is how I bring myself back to humanity. It's the most wonderful thing ever, and I'm just trying to pass it on to you guys, all for free. And I hope you can appreciate it. I hope you get it. So with that, like it, don't like it, comment on it, and let me know what you think. I hope you like it. I hope you guys subscribe. And until the next video should be on the Lansky knife sharpeners and the compasses. We'll see you next time out there. It's deer season. Let's go get some meat.